It's unbelievable how they have a different way of doing everything here. Nothing is the same. And it's great and kind of cool and kind of whimsical. And if you get that irreverent sense of humor, which I do, it's entertaining most days. But if you're trying to get something done, if you're trying to accomplish a goal or finish a task, then it's freaking irritating. What I'd like to talk about today is pension chasers. This is a fantastic group of ladies for us guys. I kind of think the one of the best groups. These are people we're talking about, and you, me, and the ladies and such. And you can never really make a unilateral statement that's going to hold up or be fair. But this is a fantastic group of ladies here. And I've got real experience with this because this describes my relationship with Fawn. And so on that hand, I could have and should have talked about this 2 years ago. I didn't understand enough about this to feel I had anything to share. And I'll give you a little lowdown now. So it's on one hand kind of simple, on the other hand kind of complicated. I got my notes. When I got my notes, you know it's a challenge for me. A pension chaser is, and I'm going to speak from within the confines of my relationship here in the suburbs of the city of Korat, which locally we pronounce Kolat, and in the Isan region here in Thailand, but this applies around the whole world, I think, but you make that decision for yourself if it applies to you or not. But I'll tell you, it applies to me and to this area 100%. A pension chaser can be any age, can be a younger woman or an older woman, doesn't matter, and it can be for good or bad reasons. So there's the complicated aspect of it. And let's discuss the good reasons, because the bad reasons will become self-evident, and they will go along with all the bad reasons and all the warnings. I give on my channel, look at my scams and scammers playlists, and look at videos. I try to title the videos as accurately as I can. Look at the titles of my videos if you want to learn more about bad reasons why a Thai woman would be looking for an older Western guy. Some are very obvious, some are not. But you can make that decision for yourself. But the good reasons are you have a Thai woman who is ineligible to date in her own culture. And so that the standard ineligibility factors apply. You have a woman who's over 30. So again, over 31, 32, 33, 34, those odds are quickly dropping like a bad weekend in Vegas that she's going to find any kind of a good Thai man, which is the phrase, good Thai man, that they're looking for. And generally speaking, you should be aware that any Thai man will be presumed to be a good Thai man. And keep that thought in your head. Please keep that thought in your head every day as you live here and before you say anything about anybody. Because that will be the assumption. Will be any problem will reflect on you, just to tell you. And then if they've been divorced, that's not the biggest red flag, but it's a red flag for them, a disqualifier for them in the culture. It limits their dating prospects. And then if they have had children, that's really a very bad one. Generally, in the culture, a Thai man doesn't want to raise another Thai man's children. And if it's a male child, you can stick a fork in it because it's done. In the culture, I've never heard, I'm sure it's happened, but I've never even heard a story of a Thai man raising another man's male children. That just virtually doesn't happen here. So Fawn has 2 boys, so she was, I'll just say, in a difficult spot when I met her. And then if the woman is traditional and family oriented, then she'll be looking for a husband to, and the phrase all the Thai women tell me, it's the same phrase, to complete their family. That's what they're looking for. So a motivation for a good Thai woman is she wants to complete that family, and she's just flat out unable to with a good Thai man. So then she has now good reasons to go looking for a foreign man, okay? But we're not at the older foreign man, which is what my channel is all about, is how to retire and how to reset your life, and one aspect is finding a lady. So I'll walk you through the exact same story that 3 different Thai women that don't know each other told me. And it was almost comical in how exactly same the stories were. So I'm just going to tell the one real quick. You know, ladies divorced, mid-30s. These are attractive women, by the way. These are very attractive women. I mean, any guy would be all over the opportunity to date any of these ladies. I guarantee you that, all right? And they're not able to date in their own culture, and they try because they're attractive, and they try, and they're just not able to get any kind of date. The only offers that all the ladies got was to geek or be a Mia Noi for a local Thai man, which I've got videos on that if you want to learn what that is. And it's like a mistress of a kind, but it's a specific cultural kind here, and they're different. Geek and Mia Noi are not the same thing. And then they try dating a foreign man, and these women are in their mid-30s, so they try a foreign man mid-30s. Because there's a lot of same-age dating here, believe it or not. And that doesn't go well. Then they try, they keep going up, and they get men 40s, around 50, and then in their 50s, and they tend to end up with Western men around 60 and up, because that's who's here and that's who's available. Now, you don't want to take advantage of a situation like that, and by take advantage, I mean talk yourself into dating somebody who's just smoking hot, kids or not, ineligible to date or not. If she's smoking hot, she will have some prospects, probably in being a Mia Noi, and eventually it's very tempting for them to give into that. There's a lot of pressure for them to do that here, a lot of pressure. And you're going to be you'll be competing with your own fiance or your own wife throughout your entire relationship if she's like smoking hot, okay? But attractive, great. So that's a good reason why a woman would be a pension chaser and looking, and a younger, not super young, younger, attractive, not super attractive, but attractive woman, Thai woman, would be looking for an accept, mutual, on an equitable basis, on a real, sincere, heartfelt basis, be interested in having a real relationship with an older Western man. And so pension chaser, what it refers to is, when you think of Thai women, what you always want to be aware of is they're very practical, extremely pragmatic, out of necessity, because this is a male-driven culture, and Thailand is no secret here, significantly less wealthy than most Western nations, and so they need to be very practical in their actions to survive and thrive here. As becoming a pension chaser, they start to think about it. An older man is just easier to manage. I don't have, myself as an example, I don't have the physical energy to go out and chase a ton of ladies. And the Playboy thing is a huge problem here. The Thai men have a reputation for that. You can take that for what it's worth. I'm not going to really comment a whole lot on that my channel's not about that. But then a lot of us come here too, and a lot of us go full Playboy. We're not innocent either. So the women have to manage this, and it's one of their greatest fears as they commit, put themselves out there, put all their saving of face and everything in this man, in this public relationship, and then he goes and cheats on her and has all these girlfriends and geeks and things behind her back, and then she's lost a ton of face, and she's embarrassed, and she's probably, on a personal level, probably very upset. I don't have the physical energy. I'm not able to really even do that. I'm not interested in doing that. 20 years ago, if I was here and 40 years old, maybe, but not now. Also, the motivation for a woman being a pension chaser is that we already have our pension. We've got income coming in. We've got, and in a lot of cases from a lot of countries, the women are aware of this. We have guaranteed income coming in. And that's one of the biggest factors, obviously. So we're older, easier to manage. We've got income coming in already. This makes sense for someone thinking practically. And Fawn did this exact same thing. She did the whole thing. She worked through the same as the example as the other ladies. I mean, she worked up the age scale, and by the time she met me, she's like, he's kind of. And she told me honestly, she goes, you were kind of old, but but she thought, well, I could probably clean you up a little bit, and here we are, and it's worked out well for her. So that's kind of what a pension chaser is. I hope I've explained it well. So it's a woman of any age looking for an older Western guy with a pension. There's the reasons why she would. Now, it would be really neat if she'd be actually interested in you and actually care about you. So for your end, you've got some work that you have to do, my friend, and that involves cleaning yourself up, because your physical appearance and the appearance of how you look and what you're doing and how you interact, how you walk, stand, talk with people, your appearance and the appearance of everything you do is 3 times as important here as it is in the West, or 5 times as important, or it's a giant difference. However you want to call it, you have to be cognizant of that fact. And there are people that say, oh, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I'm not going to do that. I'm not changing. And that's great. And you get those guys with the greasy hair and the 70s porn stash, and all they want to do is listen to their music from their high school year, and they wear the same t-shirt and the same clothes, and they talk the same way, and that's great. And I got no problem. I don't care what anybody else chooses to do. That's not really a very successful attitude here. You're not really, someone doing that's not helping themselves. Here, you want to cut your hair Thai style, which is short. I haven't really combed my hair today, but you can see how it's almost shaved on the sides. It's very short and neat. The Thai way is neat. So here, this shirt isn't ironed, so I just actually dug this out of my closet. I'm like, hey, this is really cool, but it hasn't been fitted yet. I got to take this to the tailor and get it fitted. But I love orange. But you clothes fitted, pressed. Everything neat, shave every day. I've never shaved every day. Detroit is a big kind of a city where the stubble look is a big thing. Always has been, probably always will be. I always was just a beard stubble guy. I shaved once a week, and I would just trim up around my cheeks a little, and I'd shave my neck. And I wasn't trying to look homeless or anything, but I would, but I just wear the stubble. And here, that's not a thing. You can do facial hair, but it has to be part of some kind of look, and that means it's got to be coordinated into something and neat. And I'll tell you, nobody here has gray hair until they're about at least 70, but generally 80 years old. So if you're going to do gray, and it can be a thing here. I know a couple Thai guys that really pull it off. They also happen to be really wealthy. There might be something to that, but it's got to be part of some kind of look. Otherwise, what happens is, okay, you don't care, and that's fine. We come here and we're big tough guys and all that. And we don't want to adapt to any of this. But the woman loses face by being seen with you publicly every time you choose to opt out of shaving, opt out of having a nice haircut, opt out of wearing any kind of neat clothes, opt out of not wearing what they call a Farang uniform, Kruang Bep Farang, which is baggy crumpled shorts and a muscle shirt, and a big beer belly and no muscle. I mean, if you're fit, I got one of my viewers is a fitness competition guy. If you're fit, hey, rock the muscle shirt, dude. Do it. Great. That's great. I don't. Now my shirts are fitted to show off my physique because I'm fit enough. I'm unusual looking in public. When if I walk into a restaurant, I'll get like upstairs. I'm just muscular enough, and you can see I'm old enough. It's odd. So every time you opt out of any of these things, your woman's losing face a little bit, losing face. If she loses enough face, she'll find another way to save face. I guarantee you, to total metaphysical certitude, you can bet your soul on this. Every Thai woman is saving face with every man she's with and holds out to the public as is her guy in some level. And to the guys that don't allow them to save face in other ways, and I've seen this painfully from dozens and dozens of personal meetings and experiences. So please hear me. They'll save face by talking crap about you right in front of you because you don't speak or understand Thai all that well. And they can still do it to me. I speak Thai reasonably well, and they can still do it to me a third of the time, okay? They'll just start saying, oh, I'm with him only for the money. And they'll pick up a Thai man as their real husband even, if you push it. If you go for the really attractive lady and you refuse to engage in all this, then you'll just, and what happens is you end up then in a pay-for-play, and you didn't know you were in pay-for-play. And this is kind of a newer dawning on me, but I'm realizing that about 90% of the guys that are in a pay-for-play like that, an accidental one or an inadvertent one or a non-intentional one, 90% of those guys have no idea. They think they're in a real relationship, and the woman's laughing at them, talking about them in front of their face, behind their back, and a lot of them have picked up a Thai man to hold out as their actual husband because they're losing face by being seen with their Western guy. So you have to be careful here. This is kind of like dating here and picking a wife here. It's kind of like going to, if you're shopping for a car and all of a sudden all the Lamborghinis are 90% off and you can actually afford one. Well, the problem is you can't afford the insurance, you can't afford the gas, you don't know how to drive the damn thing, and you end up making a mess of it. And it's kind of like that here. You've got to make some kind of fit with a rational fit. You have to take an honest look at yourself. Hey, and I'll say, look, oh gosh, Rob's bragging. Rob's a bad guy. Look, I've told the story 1,000 times already. I came here, I looked like total crap. My son made a comment right to my face. He goes, Dad, you look like shit. And I laughed. We both had a laugh over it. I, I mean, it was true, and it still is funny, but I didn't like looking like that. I didn't say, wow, I look like crap. This is awesome. Nobody says that. And I've put some time in. I've just cleaned myself up. I mean, I finally got a chance to have my back surgery, heal to a reasonable degree that allows me a lot more mobility. And I've cleaned up my appearance, and Fawn is taking care of the clothes and the hair. And she's like, we're getting you a haircut. And I'm like, haircut? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, all right. Shorter is less work for me. I like that. That's fine. So, and we get ourselves into trouble by doing this. I think by having the keys to the candy store, so to speak, we end up kind of screwing over ourselves. So I would be careful with all that. But circling back to my main point, pension chaser, that's who they are, that's what they do, and that's what they're looking for. And they're really looking to complete their life, save family for them and their parents, have a father figure for their kids, and the father figure is extremely little work. That I can tell you. I do almost nothing. She's got 2 boys. Her family is a good traditional Thai Isan family, which is harder to find these days. So good luck on me that I found that. And good luck on me and them together that I am interested in and am able to engage in the culture to a degree that we're all comfortable with. Am I everyone's pal? No. Do I go to a Thai restaurant all the time and just chat Thai with them all night, all the time? No. I don't want to. It's a lot of work for my brain. There's only so much I'm interested in, and I have all my own stuff that I got to pursue too. Anybody that watches the channel regularly knows I'm a huge workout guy, and I'm still recovering, and I'm still pursuing my goals. And my motorcycle just came in yesterday, so today I'm going to go check it out, put a gigantic increase on the deposit down. It's going to hurt, and get them to start putting the accessories on it that I've paid for, and probably pick it up in a couple of days. But those things are my focus. And then my romantic relationship with Fawn is a portion of my focus. If you made a little pie chart out of my life, that's a certain share of the pie. But as Wesley Snipes so cleverly said, and so adeptly said in the movie Blade, one of the finest movies of all time, he said to the guy, he goes, your world is a sugar-coated topping. There's of the real world that's underneath, or something like that. My whole real world is all my goals and having my best life that I can. Anything else is just a sugar-coated topping, and I don't focus on that. And you got to think that way when you're dating and picking a partner here, because ultimately I'm always cognizant of the fact that I'm an alien here. I don't belong here. This isn't my home. Everything I do is by invitation and the grace of others and my ability to pay attention and be careful as I move around. Now, not to make it sound inordinately difficult, I navigate 3 years in, after putting the time and the work in, I navigate all this effortlessly. I navigate it correctly 95% of the time. I F it up good from time to time. I had 2 men made comments to Fawn right in front of my face that were, I perceived as potentially grossly, not just insulting, grossly insulting. One was not. One was a very easy way to misunderstand the word Kong, which means thing. And it has about 47,000 different meanings depending on context, and I got the context wrong. And my Thai teacher got the context wrong as well. It was very subtle, but he had made no insult. And I reacted in not the best way for that, considering he did not insult her. And the other guy made a huge insult, and I didn't react very much, just a little, because I was worried that I was going to escalate it, and I was going to we're going to get the police involved. And I really didn't want to do that. So I didn't handle either one very correctly as I look back on it. But it is what it is. I don't beat myself up anymore about stuff either. But it's hard here as far as that goes. But then I let it go all out of my mind. And I'm going to go to the motorcycle dealership today. I'm going to go jogging this morning, which will be my 3rd time jogging ever in over 10, 15 years that I've been able to. I'm going to have my nap. And I got to go online and pick out some more motorcycle accessories. And I'm going to enjoy the heck out of my day in retirement. So that's about all I got to say on it. I think the pension chasers, I'll tell you to wrap up, are maybe the most misunderstood group of Thai women, and they're maybe the best group of Thai women for us to date. And I think if you're dating and you can identify that somebody might be fairly what people could regard as a pension chaser, that woman deserves extra focus on your part, And then if you can sort out on your own if it's for good or bad reasons, buddy, you're golden. If you're doing stuff like that, if you're socializing and dating and setting yourself up at that level of sophistication, you're going to crush it here. And there's lots of guys that do. I'd say 80 to 90% of us screw it up here, but there's at least 10% of the guys here that really get it right and really own this place, and they crush it. And I see them, and I always want to be like that. They're very happy. They're very secure and safe and happy and cool as a cucumber. That's the way to be, my friend. That's what you want. That's, for me, is my goal. I suggest that as a goal for you. And this whole pension chaser thing is a great way to achieve that if it works for you. Take care. Here are a few excerpts from a prior attempt I made to record this content, and it was too complicated. This took me 2 tries to get it right, but here we go. First, a few facts about the ladies themselves. They can be any age. Doesn't mean they're necessarily young or old. It's got nothing to do with the age of the lady. It's got more to do with your age, which we'll talk about. It can be a traditional or a modern woman, which is odd because most of the things I talk about, it applies to modern women or traditional women. And unpopular opinion, but I'll tell you, most of the problems, nearly all of the problems, come from the modernized people. A good traditional Thai Isan woman doesn't do hardly any of the warning things, bad things that I talk about and warn guys about on my channel. So, in lockstep with your personal goals and your retirement. And that's the thing, you would have aligned interests. If you get a woman that could be called a pension chaser, or you might qualify in your own mind, say, Jesus, I'm dating a pension chaser. Okay, fine. Then if it's all for these good reasons, then that's great. Good for you. A good conservative person, obviously, is what we're talking about. And, these ladies can be looking online. I'm always saying, oh, online is bad. In person's always better. But these ladies will go online, and they'll be as clueless as you are. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Good luck sorting out who's who, and I'll try to help you do that. But so a pension chaser refers to, again, I'm going to speak specifically about Thailand, and my standard disclaimer applies, which means we're talking about my experience here, which is in the Kolat, right around I live around the city of Kolat, in the province of Kolat, which is also the official name is called Nakhon Haret Chesma. I'll put that all on the screen as I always do. And I live out in a traditional village, and I'm a half hour outside of the city of Kolat, where I go 3 to 4 days a week, kind of every other day, one. And that's a schedule I really like. Us guys, since we're the income earners, we have the money already. We're not generally thinking about money. We're thinking about love, passion, sex, fun, adventure, beauty, status symbol, whatever. And we're generally not thinking. And so we're not thinking with the right body part anyways. And I take ownership for my past mistakes. We screw ourselves, in my opinion. I don't think it's, another person this black-hearted will actually make their plans against you. But generally speaking, we're just careless and reckless, and then we get into a bad situation, and then after a while we're surprised this happened to us, and gee, what a shock. And you do have to watch out for the woman that will pose as a pension chaser or pose as a woman that's willing to accept an older man for whatever. You can call it a pension chaser or call it whatever the heck you want, but a real common thing here is a Thai man will scam a Thai woman, tell her he loves her and all this, but, he happens to need some money. And he'll line up multiple ladies like this, even in some cases. And then needs that lady to go and pretend like she's a wife to a rich foreign guy and have that guy give her a salary, which she in turn then gives to him. And that guy can get 2, 3 ladies like that, all given. And we call that being a pimp. They have a word for it here. If I remember, I'll throw it on the screen. It's a bit of an uglier word here. You wouldn't want to throw that around. You'll get a reaction you won't like maybe. But it's common. The point is that it's common enough to actually have a word for it, and that's the real husband scam. Sometimes it's the husband and the wife are together and actually have a real loving relationship, and they've made a decision they need money for whatever reason, often gambling or drugs or whatever, and then she'll pretend she's a wife. She'll go on Thai Friendly or some other website and pretend she's going to be a wife and all that kind of stuff. But the whole time, whenever you're gone, she's over at her real house with her husband. And that's just not as uncommon as you would think. It's just, to say that's an uncommon thing is just not true. Coon paws in the background there. Yeah, he's coming into view a little bit. He's putting all the stuff away for me. I can't lift anything out of the trunk of the car. There's no freaking way. There he is. And always helpful, never complaining. I like people like that. You can see the roof structure going up. The Langka is roof, I believe, if I'm getting the tones approximately correct. I'm not confident on that one, so don't quote me. Kind of leaning towards an orange metal sheet roof, since I have an orange metal sheet wall. That seems a little matchy-matchy, but it's just the roof. The rest of the house is all different stuff. But I am doing a bit of a 70s thing, baby. I'm a 70s guy at heart. I love KC and the Sunshine Band. I play that frequently in the mornings, right before or after Megadeth. So go explain me to somebody, I don't know. But we're going to do gold, yellow, orange, brick red, burgundy, maroon red, blah, 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 all those kinds of tones, with the neutral colors all being grays and blacks. So that's the stuff I like. When it's all done, give you guys a tour and see what you think. And you're welcome to not like it, it's fine. That's highly individualistic based on what taste you have. Take off the mask. I need to see their face. Oh, you're so why. At Senkoff. Walking around the China Festival with Fawn and her 2 boys, and just had a woman who didn't look so good, way underweight, dropped down on the ground and started praying and begging to me for money, which was, I mean, that's embarrassing. I felt terrible for her. Obviously, I gave her 50 baht. Fawn was the first saying, don't do it, but it looked like she seriously needed food. Today, running errands in the city with Fawn. Cute little medium blue leg channel. And this is about the most authentic parking experience I think I've ever had. I like this. This place is dripping with character. Look at, what the heck is even that? Why do you have like tiki torch doors or something in the truck that hasn't moved since I was a teenager? But there's a really high-end cafe in front of all this, which is intriguing. In America, we wouldn't do that. Not that that's a better way, it's just different. And it's kind of interesting. Bangkon dun nalak mak mak. My head hurt. You can just see the gray here, the red primer steel on the top there. What freaking piece of steel you'll be able to see when it's built, and one pieces you won't be able to see? Let me check. I have no freaking clue. So I'm gonna go buy a great big giant bucket of orange paint because I want orange, and I'm just gonna paint everything because I mean, there's no way anybody, unless you're fluently bilingual and stood there all day every day, said this piece of steel needs to be orange, this piece of steel doesn't need to be orange. For 90 bucks I can solve this problem. Here we go.
ตกมันจ้างให้มันก็ไปหาไม่เห็นว่ามันยังอยู่บนท้องฟ้าอยู่เลยพี่อย่าไปโลกลอยอยู่ที่นี่แล้วก็อยู่ไหนที่ว่าวพอเลยไม่เห็นดอกมันไม่เห็นดอกว่าวมันตกแล้วตกแล้ว
Thank you for watching my YouTube video. If you've watched this far, please consider hitting like and subscribe.